So application container, as well as we are having one is application container, other one is database container. So when you have two containers separately, when you want to communicate from one container to another container, it won't allow to communicate directly. Okay, so there is isolation in between the containers, and it is going to run in, suppose this container running in one single node, we can say server, this is separate server, and let us say this is separate server. Okay, so this is separate server, this is separate server. So I can say node, according to the technical term we can say node, this is also node 2 here. When you want to communicate any container under node 1, it will allow to communicate easily. But when you want to communicate from node 1 to node 2 container, but both are dependency, both are having dependency, application container must communicate with the database container. At that moment you have to write a port forwarding, you have to write port forwarding, and you have to write you have to configure here. So possible only with port forwarding. Port forwarding. So you have to write a kind of configuration line, and it should forward port. Then only it will allow to communicate from one container to other container. So it is very difficult to manage down the line, because if you have 1-2 applications is okay. If you have thousands of applications and thousands of different database containers, writing for everything, managing for everything is difficult. That's the reason they was developed Kubernetes.
Sir, I have a question. Is port forwarding also known as natting and patting?
Yes, natting. Natting, how natting is going to work, similar way. Okay, so Kubernetes developed by Google. Now Kubernetes is managing by Linux Foundation. So Kubernetes is free tool, open source, but Kubernetes came with the concept of pod. So pod is nothing but combination of container or containers here. Container or containers. So when you have more than one container or one container, pod is going to prepare here. So pod, how it looks like this. See, if you take a scenario, just take a scenario here. This is the actually pod symbol, not exactly. Okay, let us take another one. So if you take, this is as a pod here. Here this is the pod. Okay, this pod again having combination of container. This is one container, this is another container, this is the container, like this. If you have one or more containers, you can have it here. So these are all we can call it as container. So container. So this is one part. Pod is nothing but combination of container or containers. You can have more than one container here. Now this pod can run in one on particular node. So I have this node 1 here. This is the node 1. Okay, node 1. So like this, I have node 2 also. For example, I have node 2. Node 2. So one advantage is pod concept. Second advantage is node 1, node 2 here. If node 1 is failed, it will automatically move this pod from here to here. It will move from here to here. So when it will move here, so if node 1 down, if node 1 down, then Kubernetes will move pod from one node to node 1 to node
So,
2.
so in that case, so Kubernetes is a kind of cluster software to manage the
Yes,
content.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, this is the kind of cluster software. So this is the main actually, because whatever we are learning like OpenShift, OpenShift is giving a kind of flexibility to use all this terminology and technology. Here also you have to write a lengthy command like kubectl and other commands here. So the combination, see if you observe here how the technology is moving level by level. One is virtualization, we can create virtual machine. So it is bulky and heavy. At that moment, the container technology is developed. According to the container, we can prepare containers very easily, but there is no high availability option. So at that moment, what do we have here? Node 1 to node 2, whatever you want to communicate your containers, you need to write manually each and everything in a code. It means you have to write a number of commands. Managing will be difficult when you have large infrastructure. At that moment, Kubernetes developed. Kubernetes is coming with the concept of pod. Pod is nothing but combination of number of containers. So again, it is also having same kind of security and the related option. So at that moment, again, Kubernetes coming with the high availability. The first method is pod. The second one is high availability. High availability. So because of high availability, even the one node is down, other node will take care about, because your Kubernetes here we can have master and client applications here. Master is nothing but Kubernetes master. Client is nothing but kubectl. Kubectl is always communicated with the kube master. kubectl will inform automatically if node 1 is down, it is going to move the infrastructure from here to here. So automatically pods always available. Your pods will be available. Again, we have another feature is along with the high availability and all. We have another feature is have a high availability as well as auto scaling.
So,
So
yeah, sir, what is the use of parts here, sir? Okay, they brought the parts concept. So, what is the use of it?
so pod concept. Why they developed pod concept? Pod is nothing but I am saying group of containers, right? So for example, here I need to write a code to communicate from application container to database container. Then in pod I can write application and database containers in a single pod. Grouping pods like containers together. Sometimes you can have only one container in one pod. So
Okay.
why they are having pod concept here? Managing pods will be easy than container separately. So that's the reason they was developed this one. The pod is nothing but combination of one container. Sometimes you may feel it is a combination of containers, means you can have more than one container. But sometimes you can find one container equal to one pod. So
Right.
the purpose of the pod is, one is auto scaling, second one is high availability. So instead of choosing the particular container, this is going to move pod from one node to another node with the help of high availability feature. Second one is auto scaling. Suppose for example, based on my CPU usage and RAM usage. When it is reaching 80% of CPU usage or RAM usage, automatically pod will be replicated. I don't need to do anything. Simply auto scaling I can mention, or as an administrator also you can do manual scaling. But to up the particular pod, it will take less than 1 minute. It will take only 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Sometimes it may take only 16 seconds only to make your new pod up with the same features, same configuration, everything will be on fly. So if you go to the data center level to prepare another server like that, it will take days again. If you go to the virtualization level, to clone the particular virtual machine also will take time. So if you try to clone a normal virtual machine, it will take 5 minutes. If you have some database and the kind of things, then it will take more than 20 minutes also. So, but here it is indirectly cloning. Auto scaling means it is going to replicate your existing pod into multiple servers. So here it is also having default load balancing. So that is another feature here, coming with the load balancing here. Load balancer. Load balance. So whenever you have load balancer feature here, so automatically you could understand it is high availability, right? Again, it is having high availability as well as load balancer will allow to communicate whenever you have multiple. See, when we are saying that whenever auto scaling feature is available, it is going to prepare multiple pods. For example, I have two web servers. I have two web servers or more than two web servers, but I didn't configure load balancer. What is the use of that? No use, right?
Yes.
So you need to have, if you have more than one web server, you should configure load balancer. Load balancer is going to divert the traffic based on the web server availability, and sometimes it is going to avail for every mission. Suppose it's a kind of method, it will follow round robin method. Means one request will go to one web server, other request will go to another server. So round robin method it is going to use. So these are all features available in Kubernetes by default. By default, these features available. So all this combination added in OpenShift. Whatever the Docker feature we have, that is available. Whatever the Kubernetes feature we have available, it is also available. So that's what we are going to learn.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, in the case of one container going down in one pod, will the load balancer direct the traffic to another pod in the same node, or will the Kubernetes cluster restart the container in the pod?
It is not going to. Anyway, if one pod is down, node is not down, pod is down, right? So if pod is down, it is going to restart or rebuild the particular pod. Suppose it failed, sometimes it may rebuild it also automatically. But meanwhile, your traffic will be going to working pod. Whatever the pod working, load balancer will know with the help of hashing algorithm, round robin hashing algorithm. Based on that, it will send the traffic to that. But end user, he never face any failure, like 100% high availability we have here.
Okay, sir. So in the case of the node handling lots of load average on the node, then it will redirect the traffic to another node.
Yes.
Node 2. Okay.
Because load balancer concept, it is going to use here pods, not for the node here. So the pod can run on node 1 or node 2. It is not a kind of considerable point. Why? Because it can run on node 1 or node 2. That is not we are going to look at here. It may run anywhere. It may run anywhere, but at the end, load balancer is going to send traffic to the number of pods which is running in your environment. So while running also we'll see that one, while implementing practical. That is not important for exam, but to understand concept clearly about load balancer as well as high availability, we need to look at it.
Okay, sir. One more question. Will this load balancer sit in front of all these nodes, or there will be one central load balancer?
No. Load balancer will be created for every we can
Pod.
say up for every, not for every pod, application. So whenever you create load balancer will be created with your service pod. We have multiple pods here. There is a service pod is available. The service is going to avail service to the particular pod. So whatever we are sending request, the request is going to service pod. The service pod is having load balancer feature.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
while learning those things, you will get clarity.
Sir,
Not as a,
so one more question. One container goes down in the pod, so the complete pod will go down only that particular container.
only the particular pod. Suppose if one pod is down, for example, other
No,
pod
not
might
pod. One container, I'm saying the pod. If one container are having an issue, so
in
is
a,
that pod
okay.
completely going down?
In a pod, whenever you have two containers, we are talking about two containers, one container is down, right?
Right, right.
Okay. At that moment, it will down entire pod.
Okay.
So why? Because it need to see it is having self health checkup as well as is automatically rebuilt from the build configuration. We have a lot of features in OpenShift option. In that, it is going to first build configuration. It is going to check build configuration. If build configuration is available, it is automatically recreated, restarted. Those things will happen automatically.
And sir, I think we also need to talk more about monolithic applications and why we invented containers for microservices. Because that is the only reason why we are using containers in orchestration, right, sir?
Yes, yes.
To divide applications into small containers.
Right. So here, because normally I am not touching that Microsoft services word, why? Because it's a fuse again question. So now in this OpenShift, the combination we are using here, the OC command. OC is nothing but OpenShift client here. OC command will be useful to run or create application. So actually there is no application, but we can say apps here. Create apps, manage apps, like Docker with Docker or Kubernetes at the backend. So OpenShift is having OC command. Here it is going to use run, create, and manage applications with Docker or Kubernetes at backend. So in this area, we'll have different missions. One is we'll have master node, and we'll have node 1, node 2, and along with that we have another node, we can call it as service node.